Captain by a hook with a red beard. Captain by a hook with a red beard.
Yes, sir. Let's get it, as the kids say. Uno más week until March, and the madness is officially around the corner. 2 more weeks of regular season basketball. Honestly, it's more like a week and a half, and then championship week will take over for 6 to 7 days. And then it's what you all been waiting for, ain't it? The bracket. Selection Sunday, a little over 2 weeks away. I think it's 2 weeks from Sunday. Without any further ado, my man, Jason Chandler Parnell. Jaden Chandler. Did I say Jason?
Maybe.
That's my dog, JCP from the JC Pod on YouTube. And you can also follow him at Twitter at Jaden95Chandler. What's been up, my guy?
Oh, not much, honestly. Excuse me, dying over here. I'm trying to hydrate a little bit. No, been good, man. We had a little chit chat before. Ran over. So okay, might hit an under today.
Yeah,
How you doing?
Me and this man has been talking for 40 minutes now. Pretty much about all the stuff we're supposed to talk about on the show. We just been talking futures and college basketball and the bracket.
I mean, in our defense, though, we were kind of waiting for bracketology too. So
yeah, we can't
throw
get
them under
this
the bus a little bit.
this bracket to load. ESPN supposed to be the king of sports. I'm about to look at one more time, but yeah, I don't know what the heck going on.
I still can't get it either. So
Well, Snapples.
F it, we ball.
Let's start off talking about some teams that took our heart. Last week, I know you was talking about Providence. That's what made me even think about this segment. I have 3 teams, all starting with a M somehow, that have taken my heart over the last month. Teams that I will be betting on and rooting for heavily come tournament time. I don't know if you want to do one at a time or just shoot yours and I shoot mine.
We can do back and forth in case of match.
The first one I would say is them Memphis Tigers.
I do like them. They were close for me.
Under the radar team, handling business all season long. Penny Hardaway and Snap. I think his name is Kendrick Dunn. Transfer from
I think it's Kendrick
SMU.
Davis.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Kendrick Nunn. I know who you're thinking of.
I think it is Kendrick Davis. Yeah, Kendrick Nunn played 10 years ago, huh?
I just remember him because he played for the Heat a little bit ago.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's already in
I
the
remember
league.
his name. Yeah, Kendrick Davis. So that boy, nice with it.
Now that boy is a star at SMU. He transferred to Memphis, and in the beginning of the season, I had big things in my head for this team. They've exceeded those expectations. This team wins ball games. This team plays smart basketball. For some reason, nobody's talking about Memphis. I have no idea why. They almost upset Gonzaga last year without Davis. This team is going to be a force to reckon with come tournament time. Penny Hardaway coaches his kids hard. They play hard defense. And this year they have the offense to match it. I see this team definitely making a run come tournament time. It all depends on seedings and matchups, of course. I keep putting that disclaimer out there because sometimes people take your words and run with it. Like, no, you said Memphis was. So
They were gonna beat Bama.
yeah, I always throw it out there like we got to see who they get, what draw they get. But depending on the draw, I do like Memphis to make a run, man. Either to at least the second weekend of the tournament, if not even further. I wouldn't be surprised if this team made it to the Final Four. As crazy as that sounds, I love this Memphis team. That's the first team that I really fell in love with the last 2 months specifically. I liked them before then, but I love them now.
I agree. The only thing that scares me with them, obviously, is the health of Kendrick Davis because I heard some stat where I think he has 80% of their offense basically when he's on the court. So that That is one thing that does scare me. Uh, I guess I'll kind of go like a similar team to that. I mean, obviously, like we know, I'll say Provi. I'll give them their roses in a minute. Some team that very similar to Memphis. I think when their best players out there, they are just absolutely different. That is the TCU Horned Frogs and that boy Mike Miles. I mean, I get that we talked about it. Excuse me, I'm like dying over here, man. That throat is dry. Some allergies, baby. No, but all right, we're good. Sorry, throw a little raspy now. No, but Mike Miles has been. I didn't realize like with injury, like he was out for a little bit, so I didn't realize like it's kind of like that. I forget what the word is, but like when you miss it and you don't see it for a while, it's like you forget like how nice they were. TCU was hanging around for a bit. I remember you talking like they probably shouldn't be ranked this high, and I was totally agreed with you. And then Mike Miles comes back and they dropped like 100, I think, on Oklahoma State, and he just watching him play like it's honestly insane. I think didn't they? I want to say they just beat Baylor recently, wasn't like just the last game? Because I was
Yeah,
trying to remember. No, I was just watching. I was just watching him like control that game. And yes, Baylor did kind of like mess themselves up and kind of. I'm not going to call the kid out, but one of their kids kind of shot them out of the game with some of the shots he was taking. I didn't like, but the fact that I mean, on the flip side of that though, Miles just played awesome and just watching because like when it comes to tournament time, sometimes like the best way to beat teams who just play good defense is have one superstar. I mean, you saw it with John Morant with I think it was Marquette. He just basically didn't have the
Mercy.
biggest run, but I mean, yeah, he had a run for a little bit. Who like Carson Edwards for Purdue when it was just basically him. Like he had a run like that. Like usually when it comes like tournament time, that's when you really need your superstars because you get one game, so you really need your best players to show up when they can.
No, definitely. You need your superstar to step up and play like a superstar, and you need the defense and role players around them to elevate just a little bit. But if that superstar disappears in the tournament, man, it's like
That's when it gets scary.
10 chickens with a head cut off running around trying to figure out where to get shots from. Um, that's why you really need guys, man, like real guys. Like a lot of players are good at regular season. It's just like the NBA. He's hitting that three every game, and then he comes playoff time, everything's a little tighter. That boy a little more nervous. That boy on national TV now. All
Yeah, you
this,
do need great composure from some role players. They're like, hey, it is what it is, man. That's what I also need to like. I know like one thing about TCU. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm hoping that they pick up a little bit magic from like that football team too, because like they're I guess they lost like a decent amount of games though when Miles was out, but they hung around just enough to get him back. So hopefully they're able to carry maybe some of that charisma and some of those boys can be like, hey, I want to be that tournament star too, man, because you need to have some guys that aren't selfish but have that little bit of dog in them. They're like, hey, I'm the guy that makes this team run. I know he scores all the points and everything, but I'm the glue that keeps everything together. You need a bunch of guys. You need a few guys like that. I would say, like at least two.
yeah, I was watching that TCU Baylor game, and it was like probably 6 or 7 minutes left. Pretty close game. I think it was a one possession game. And all of a sudden, your boy Max Dugan
Oh
walked.
yeah, they showed him on the sideline.
He walked in. He was at some award ceremony. He walked in with a full suit on, just hyping the crowd up. And then next thing you know, TCU's on like an 8-0 run. Whole crowd's going crazy, and the game was over. And so I
That
definitely think that the campus has that magic on it still.
gonna be interesting to see, yeah, what TCU can do because I mean, I don't think they have to win the Big 12 tourney because I think the Big 12 is going to get like 9 teams in anyway because of how good they are. So I would think they would want to win though, obviously, so they get a little bit better seeding. But yeah, it's basically just going to come down where they get seeded because I think there's only probably a handful of teams that could like really give them trouble,
No,
especially with how
like
schedule they play already.
you definitely said it best, man. TCU is gonna be I hate to even use the term a sleeper team, but it's gonna be one of those teams that people are gonna overlook them, man. I think people are gonna overlook TCU and Memphis, and I definitely think both of those teams could be in the Sweet 16, no problem. I wouldn't bat an eye at it. It wouldn't that be like TCU, because like you said, they got guys, man. I love TCU, man. I do. Their basketball program. I love schools like that. Schools that are like they're not small schools, but they're definitely not a big school. And then out of nowhere, you just get the
I mean,
right.
they were a small school for a while. They just finally like invested in their sports and everything. That's what I same with you. I love seeing that. Finally, like, hey, let's actually throw some money at this, see what they can do. And then now they got a new coach and football team, took them national championship, and now they have a basketball team that has a chance to make a deep run in the tourney. Like, kind of crazy what happens when you can like dedicate sports and then actually have biggest thing too. You got to have fans that show up and support them no matter what. And those Horned Frog fans are loyal.
Yeah, man, they got the right combination of guys too on the team at the same time. I think this is all the way off of anything we've ever talked about, but I'm pretty sure they just won the tennis championship. Like,
They did.
la-
They showed
la-
it at halftime of that game. That school has something going right now. That's where I got the sports thing from. It's like they're over the announcer. They were talking about like, hey, yeah, they're finally like they've been dedicating to their sports recently, and now they went from like a smaller like private school to now they're one of the bigger private schools in the country. Crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. The next team I'm gonna bring up is from the ACC. Uh, this team, what I love about tournaments is give me some seniors, man. That's why I like Kendrick Davis. That's why I like this team right here, Miami, led by a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors. Miami Hurricanes is definitely a team that's taken my heart. I fell in love with them last year during the tournament run. I don't remember how far they went, but I do remember them making it through the first weekend and going to the Sweet 16. Coach Larinaga has definitely turned this program around. And like I said, they got players like Isaiah Wong, who superstar status at this level. If he shows up, this team will be dangerous. They play amazing. They play amazing offense. I wish their defense was a little better, but I can't be mad at it. Tournament time comes, I think they'll tighten up a little bit. But I think they have the players to hit big shots when they need big shots the most. So that's the second team that starts with an M for me is the Miami
Sweet 16,
Hurricanes.
Elite Eight is what I'm seeing. By the way, it's either Sweet 16 or Elite Eight. It says so. I guess, but it says they reached the Sweet 16 four times in 2021, 2022, and then Elite Eight once in 21, 22. So I guess Elite Eight is what that is. I almost picked them too though, because yeah, they're good, man. They've been. I was looking through my bet slip like last night. I'm like, I'll find my favorite team because you'll see me betting them a lot more.
Yeah,
And I saw Miami in there a lot. I mean, they've been covering machines, and they've been a fun squad because the last few years it feels like they've been like it was like I feel like Wong, like you said, I feel like I've watched Wong play now for like 3 years. I want to say
yeah.
at least been two. I feel like it's been about three because yeah, like I almost picked them as well, but there's some team last night that took my heart, but I'll save them best for last.
Real
Second best
quick.
for last.
Miami's 15-0 at home and on a 7 game win streak, getting hot at the
Hey,
right time. Last
you know
thing I
what?
wanted to throw out there.
Perfect. That perfectly rolls into my Providence Friars. I mean, I fell in love with this team probably 3, 4 years ago because Ed Cooley. I love Ed Cooley as a
Cooley.
coach, so, and just watching that team play, it's been like every year. It's been like I've watched Andrew Bynum now. I think for like 3ish years or so. I've been watching like a lot of those players around there grow. This year they get transfers like Hopkins in. The boy Devin. By the way, that boy's name is Devin that I disrespected last week. I won't disrespect you again, my
Oh,
guy.
the
That boy,
the
yeah, the
guy
boy
who
I said had
knows,
the full nose. Yeah, I
the
disrespected the
one
hell
who
out of him. But
knows all.
literally. But yeah, I wanted to get that back because I did feel bad for disrespecting him a bit. But no, like they got two I think really good transfers who've been playing really well. Just like the team you mentioned, home court. They're 17-0, I believe, at home court this year. If I believe that's what the number's up to now.
15, but
And
yeah.
yeah, they got Evan Carter, and then I wanted to look up Bryce Hopkins. That was the dude's name. Those two have been like the superstars for Providence and Croswell down low. Like he reminds me of just like if Justin Fields would look like if he played linebacker. That dude is just built. Like that boy is just stocky and everything. But no, Providence has been like they play a lot of close games. That's why I really like them because when it comes to tournament time, like you're gonna play eventually. At one time, you're gonna play close games, and if you don't, like I said, if you don't play them, you aren't gonna expect them. And then this ties in a little bit for my college. We always had a belief system. Our coaches like always said like it was find a way. It's like we're always gonna win, like stuff like that. And I mean, he's one of the most successful NAI coaches and everything. It's just a belief system. I think that Providence, like Ed Cooley, has a total belief system. Now, albeit they lost by like 15 or whatever last game out. I mean, it's gonna happen. I think they were on the road. I forget who they were playing, but it was someone decent.
UConn.
But UConn, yeah, it's UConn on the road. Like and I think they already maybe beat them earlier. I can't remember, but they just have a belief system. We're like, hey, like even if it gets bad, like if it gets down a little bit, like we'll figure it out. We just got to hit a few shots, lock up defensively, and we can do it. And they've done it. They have an amazing home record, and now they have a chance to yet again make some noise in the tournament. And they're right there with Creighton and Marquette for conference. But I think the loss to UConn kind of iced that bad boy.
Well, Providence, Xavier, and Creighton are all 12-5. Marquette's in the lead, a 1.5 game lead at
I didn't realize Xavier.
14
I
and
forgot about
3. Yeah, Xavier is. I'll talk about them a little later in the show. They got some action going on tonight, and I don't know why the hell they only minus what they minus, but
I was leaning at that too.
that's gonna be my Friday night pizza money. You dig?
Hell yeah, baby. I might get pizza myself now because you just said that.
But the other team I have is right there, bro, in the Big East. I love Providence. I actually love the Big East this year. I always am a fan of the Big East, but this year I've fallen in love with UConn, Providence, Creighton, and Xavier. But the team that's taken my heart to new levels, Shaka Smart and these Marquette Golden Eagles, or whatever the hell they call themselves. I
Shaka.
I'm in love
Boy.
with Marquette. I loved Shaka Smart way back at Wichita State when he was doing them runs
Same.
into the tournament.
He was that dude.
Texas, I feel like was just a little too big for him. No disrespect to him, but I think the expectations was too big on him at Texas.
Yeah.
He was supposed to come in and save the Longhorns from the misery of football, baseball, and basketball failures. I think he's right in his little pocket over here at Marquette. Nice little small school, hard nosed defensive team. Marquette is the third team that starts with an M. I told you all three of my teams start with an M somehow. Marquette is a team that I cannot wait to watch in this tournament. I think they have the defense to win any game against anybody. It's all going to come down to if they can make shots. And as great as Providence is at home at 15-0, Marquette is right behind them at 14-1 with the home record. Yeah, I love that. I know it means nothing when the tournament starts because every game's a neutral game. But like you said, man, Big East basketball, they play close games. Providence has won at least 13 games this year by less than 3 points. I think that's going to be a big push for them in the tournament. I don't know, man. It's going to be exciting. I think the Big East is going to have the most success come tournament time. I think they're going to end up having 4 or 5. I think all 5 of these teams are liable to make the Sweet 16. It depends on matchups. I know
Really
they try
good
to keep.
on it.
I know they try to keep them away from each other, but like you can't tell me Connecticut, Creighton, Providence, Xavier, and Marquette going to the Sweet 16. Any one of those teams is a stretch.
And I think some people like don't understand that, like don't like maybe understand like Big East basketball. Like I can't wait to watch the defenses because like you don't realize they're dropping like 60 or 70 on like really good defenses. So when they go in the tourney and play some of those teams, that's gonna be really nice. It's kind of like what they were talking about, like the Big 12. Like some of those teams just can't wait to get out of like from eating each other up and then finally like go face some competition that like doesn't see Big East basketball every year.
No, I think Big East and Big Ten are the two conferences that have that stigma the most. I mean, it's just a freaking gauntlet, January through March, trying to get through these leagues, the Big East and the Big Ten. Big 12,
Basically up in the Provi.
yeah,
Last game, they just got tired. Like it's middle of February. They're kind of thinking about tournament time. One slip up, and then boom, you lose by 15.
yeah. They're like, we got 3 games left in the season. Let's finish strong. And then everybody's like, 3 games left. Damn, baby. Start,
17. Okay.
yeah. Start relaxing
Peacocking
a little bit. Yeah. Nah, definitely, man. I think the Big 12, as tough as they are, I think they have some nights off. I mean, you go play Oklahoma, you could relax a little bit. A couple other schools in the Big 12. I mean, once you get past, I mean, you got Kansas, Texas, I guess Kansas State. But I mean, honestly, if you look at this Big 12, even TCU,
I was thinking of
which
I was
is,
thinking of it more as like towards the top teams because yeah, there are some teams in the Big 12 where you can eat live. Like I would say in the Big East, I would say maybe Georgetown, but Georgetown beat somebody just recently and almost won another game. So, but I mean, I know how we feel about Georgetown on this show, but I feel like there's maybe like 2-3 teams like St. John's. St. John's like was giving teams runs for their money.
Mike,
What other
Mike
teams have done it?
Anderson.
DePaul, like teams like that were making like Big East, make the Big East fight. My last team, real quick. Not too much to talk about. I almost decided on Marquette, but there's some little guy out there in around Chicago, Illinois, that dropped 35 last night. And I also learned just recently too that there's a guy who played at Lafayette Jeff, who I know. I lied. I completely lied to you. I don't know him, but I've known like kind of him. That plays there, that boy Barnheiser. But no, them Northwestern Wildcats, man, they've been I've been loving them all this year. They've been kind of slept on a little bit. Finally, just get ranked, and I think they lost a game where they were up a little bit. But I mean, that shouldn't take anything away from them. That team has been balling. Just basically like they beat Purdue. They've beaten really good teams. I believe they've beaten IU. I think their IU's only loss at home, if I remember that correctly. Like this team, but it's just something about this team. Like they just kind of like they're like a leech, basically. Like they just don't go away, and then all of a sudden you're gonna look up, you're up like maybe like 10, 12 on them with like 10 minutes left. All of a sudden, 5 minutes left. It's like a seven point game. All of a sudden, a 5 point game. You turn it over again. Now it's like a three, and they're just still hanging around somehow. And they end up winning. Like it's just the teams like that. Like they're always a problem to deal with, and the fact that they're having to run like this in the Big Ten for the first time in a while just tells you how legit they are. I mean, they're 20-7 or something like that. Like they have a
20,
really
20-8, and I will say
20
something
and 8.
that goes to your point beautifully. Out of all the Big Ten teams, they are second behind Purdue.
Yeah, they just passed IU with their win. I think before the game they just lost. Like they or either IU lost or their win like a game beforehand literally cemented it to where like they were number 2 in the conference behind Purdue, and they had a legit shot to maybe steal it if we know Purdue wasn't going to do what they're going to do these next few games.
Yeah, I mean,
Potentially.
honestly, they're only 2 games back from Purdue, and they have a 1 game lead over 4 teams tied at 10-7, which is Michigan, Maryland, Indiana, and Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, what more do we need to say, man? They're legit this year. People just don't want to respect them because they just think about their football program and think, oh, it's Northwestern. Nah.
Yeah, it is
All right,
Northwestern.
they got them, but I mean, it is, but they in basketball, man, they got some guys. Football, I'll admit, it's a little bit of an issue with the transfer portal, but
Now, I will say
basketball, they got
this:
some guys this year.
I'm excited to watch your boy Bowie in the tourney.
Dropped 35 last night, that boy Boo Booey. Didn't score the last 12 minutes, so we need to kind of
Uh,
work on that because they kind of blew the lead because of that. But hey, 35 ain't nothing to scoff at.
now, if he could do that in the tournament, even dropping 25 a game in the tournament, they will definitely win a few games. He's that type of talent that you can literally ride to the Final Four if he's good enough. And I mean if he's
And they
good
got a
enough,
good
like I know he has the
round.
talent, but like if he brings it every game,
I like to call him Yusuf Nurkic Jr., that guy who plays down low center for them. I mean, he's pretty good as well. They have a decent rotation of bigs as well, I believe. I can't remember the backup, but the guy who looks like Yusuf Nurkic, uh, he plays he plays like he has a little edge on him. I like it.
yeah. No, I definitely I love this team. I forgot what I was about to say, but I definitely love this team. Um, I'm looking at their stats right now. That's what made me forget what the heck I was about to say. Yeah, I mean they just beat Iowa by 20
Yeah, I mean,
before they lost to Illinois by 4.
and the thing was, they were up like 15 at one point by Illinois. The only issue was I texted you about it last night. Boo Booey like had 35, but they locked him down like the last 12 minutes of the game, and Iowa just basically like I mean not Iowa, Illinois basically stole a game they probably shouldn't have won.
That boy Brad.
And yeah, hey, I mean, I defensively that's how they stole the game. They basically just like I think locked up Boo Booey, and I think everyone else was kind of struggling. I didn't catch the first half. I only saw like bits and ends of the second half, but hey, they covered. That's all that matters.
You dig?
5 point
Nah,
underdog lose by 4.
yeah. Now you just reminded me what I was about to say. In the tournament, with the quick turnaround of games, if they can win the first game, that second game, that team is not gonna know what to do with Boo Booey. That's when he can really take somebody by surprise and drop 40, 45 on them. Same thing with the next weekend. You win that Sweet 16 game, you're going to Elite 8 game with an advantage.
I'm excited, man. This tournament's gonna be something. I mean, there's a lot of like those teams that you wouldn't think about that. I mean, the more I look at it, the more I just like end up having issues. Like, man, like I feel like a Kansas or Baylor, like one of those teams should win, but like why not like a Northwestern? Like why not this year? With how weird sports have been recently, like why not?
No, I 100% agree, man. I got tickets on the longest of shots, and I got tickets on the sheriff of shots, and I don't know which one I feel more comfortable about.
Yeah, it's been that year, kind of year in college basketball too, especially. Like I think they said I saw a little. It was like a week or two ago. I saw that I think there's been 8 times the number one seed is lost, and that's a record for the most ever in college basketball ever. That the times number one seed is lost. I think that just tells you about all you need to know about what's going on and everything.
Yeah, I think with the transfer portal and other things, it's definitely very, very, very even competition across the Division One basketball.
And it's very interesting to see how teams approach it because, like for example, something that my attention was brought to like during the Marquette game is Shaka Smart developed guys didn't want to really take a lot of people in from the transfer portal like NIL wise. It wasn't really like his thing. And then you had Providence with Ed Cooley that's like, hey,
Bring,
bring them in. I mean, it's just like it's very interesting to see like because like Marquette's successful, and then they're doing a good job of developing guys, and then like Providence just successful and they brought in guys. So it's like it shows you both can work. It's just like very interesting to see, very just interesting to see the different philosophies that can go into these approaches.
No, definitely, man. Definitely, definitely. What's I know last week we did this and I was thinking I was kind of mad at my answer because I gave you five teams when you asked me who I have winning the whole thing. And so this week I'm gonna try and keep it to just one team. So I'm gonna say I chose Alabama last week as my one team, even though I said like six different teams. I said like Baylor, Virginia, Alabama. But this
Before you
week,
go, real quick. Oh, okay. Actually, go ahead. I didn't know if you were. I was just
uh,
gonna ask like if it was Bama. I was gonna ask you something, but if it's not Bama, we can keep rolling.
you can ask me Bama. To this week it's not Bama though.
I was gonna say like, how do you feel? We don't have to touch on this too much because of like the whole situation that goes on, but that Brandon Miller situation. How do you feel about Alabama now with all that rolling around? Because I heard one thing, and then the next morning they came out and said, "Oh, he was just around the scene. It wasn't like what they were originally saying that he did."
I'm gonna
So
tell you
it's
my official opinion, and I wasn't gonna talk about this at all on the show because who the
yeah.
fuck am
I hate to bring it up because of the situation, but like I'll cut it before you. Like if he like I'm one of those people like guilty until I mean innocent until proven guilty because like there's been too many athletes where like their lives have been destroyed just because they've been on the wrong trajectory. But if he did what he did, he should be punished. If he didn't do what he didn't do, I think Alabama covered it the right way. But the bashing they're getting in the media is out.
No, it's definitely loud. I will say this though: if he's still on the court as of last game where he dropped 41 points, I don't think there's any way you could take him off the court anytime before this season's
Yeah,
over with. Uh, I
it's
mean
been too
this
long now too. I think.
this happened, yeah, in I believe late December, early January. So I mean, I guess there's that saying like it's never too late as long as you're doing the right thing. But in my opinion, he went to court, he went through trial, he was proven not part of this, and that could be also like I said, that could be the whole state and the team and everybody like, look, he didn't pull the trigger, he didn't know what he was getting into. This kid has a future. Let's not charge him. Whereas if it was just some regular Joe off the street, he might have got charged with accessory. So I don't know all the details that play into it, but I will say this: if he don't have a charge and he's not going to jail, I think you should just let the kid play.
I agree because I think it's just something. My my sum up of it, I thought somebody said it perfect. It's like he could have made one very stupid decision on a night and actually did what is reported that he did, or he just got unfortunately tied into the situation, and now his name's just getting dragged through and everything. Like it, impossible to know, obviously, because we're still on the outside. I was just like very curious because there's a lot of people like, oh, they should sit him now. They should sit him. It's like partially one, I don't think they're going to sit him because he's dropping like 41 and doing 20, and like he's going to be a first round talent. So like that always as much as like I hate to say it, like if you're a first round talent, you get an extra like you get extra cushion. Like I hate to say he earned it, but his players earning it. But past that, I mean, like yeah, like I agree with you. If it went part past this long, I think that he should continue to play. I was just curious because I thought you were going to pick Bama again. That's why when you said you didn't, I'm like, maybe we can avoid this. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I think we said something good enough about it because
Now,
it's an awful
yeah,
situation.
I think
Just
it's horrible, man. It's one of those things that I hate it.
the gun. Yeah,
I
I just the gun violence around college basketball right now is just out of control.
It's not
Regardless,
even that,
everything
bro.
involved.
Honestly, it is that. I mean, I don't know why these kids want to be thugs. Honestly, both of these kids could have been NBA talent, and in 18 months from now, have 20 million in the bank, and never have to worry about being a thug ever again. And they probably didn't have to worry about being a thug right now. I don't know why they got guns. You going to school to play ball. You got food. You got a house. Like,
Exactly.
what you running around with a gun for, bro?
There's
However,
that. There's like the Michigan State shooting too. Like it's just terrible around the sport right now.
The part that really breaks my heart, and I don't really know how to word this, but anytime a woman can't say no without getting her life taken, it's a problem, man. I take offense to that more than anything because I have a mother, I have a girlfriend, and I have nieces. I have girls and women in my life, and the fact that I have to even think if my girlfriend's going to the grocery store, something like this might happen is just
Yeah, that
pathetic.
really is honestly. Like I basically agree. We don't have to touch on this too more. I'll say a final word, and then yeah, if you're good, we can just move on. But I definitely agree. Like, hey, sometimes you just gotta learn to take a no, man, and just move on and with it. Like that's my biggest takeaway from it. Is like, hey, sometimes, hey, it just ain't meant to be for you. Just get on going. That's the great saying once said. There are many fish in the sea. You don't need to. And the biggest thing I feel bad for is that little 5-year-old boy now who doesn't have a mom because, like you said, a guy just couldn't take a no. Just stupid, beyond stupid.
Nah, it's pathetic, man. On all levels, it's pathetic. Because at the end of the day, what the fuck is you shooting her gonna do?
Right. I mean, I get her boyfriend was there too, but like, yeah, what do you like? That's what I thought about. Like when I was thinking about situations, what goes through your head after that? Like you think you're. It's not like the 1970s anymore where you can just move a state over and they won't remember. Like they don't know you, they don't know what happened. Like there's cameras everywhere, man. You can't do anything without getting caught. You just gotta be smarter. Don't even put yourself in those situations.
Like you supposed to
That's
be
what I think
focused.
frustrates me, man. I hate watching kids ruin their futures over just dumb shit like this. But I
Yeah,
mean, it's gonna continue to happen for forever. Just hate to see it.
happens every day, man. The team I was gonna go with today is Kansas. I think they're repeating. I don't know why I've been down on them all season for barely winning games, winning by 1 point, winning by 2 points, struggling to cover. However, I had the same problem with Gonzaga earlier in the season. In Gonzaga and Kansas, the last 10 days have righted some ships, righted some
They've been
wrongs,
playing really impressive.
and I am back all over on the Drew Timmy mustache train, and I am back all over on the Jayhawks of Kansas to go ahead and get this thing done. I think if Kansas, and I think they're realizing it right in front of our eyes, Jalen Wilson, get the ball out of his hands. He's not the guy that you think he is. And I think they're
Right.
realizing that right now. Harris needs the ball in his hands, and if the clock gets under 10 seconds, look for that boy Grady Dick.
Grady
Jalen
Dick,
Wilson,
baby.
Jalen Wilson shooting 29% from the 3 point line, and literally that's his go-to is jacking a three. Not going to get the job done in the tournament, but if they can get the ball moving to the paint, they got talent, man. And they just need to get the ball out of Jalen Wilson's hands. Like, still go to him. He's not a bad player. I just think earlier in the season they was giving him the ball with 15 seconds left, and it wouldn't leave his hands again until it went up for a three.
Man. Well, that was my pick, so I guess you.
For
Well,
real.
I'll just forget what you said. I think so. I mean, I think what got me was that Baylor game. Watching the way they came out that second half. Just like I get that, like Baylor. It's kind of one of those teams. Like if the threes kept falling, like they could have shot them out again, basically. But there's just some like there's something. They have a transfer, I think, too, from Texas Tech. I want to say McCullers, I believe. Like he watched him at Texas Tech. He was a tough dude for them. He played really well for them. So having him come to Kansas, he's been an awesome fit. Big thing that I got for me is just that dude Bill Self. Like I'm starting to realize like why people say he's the best coach in college basketball. I mean, they were down I think like 12 at half, and they basically come out half, don't even blink an eye, and boom, basically tied within like 5 minutes. And it's just like you said. I like Wilson too. I think he's a good player, but I think like sometimes his making late clock is like not the best. Like for example, you have a freshman Grady Dick, who I think 5-star freshman for a reason, but he also like he. I don't want to say he's like a little bit smarter, but I feel like he has a little bit more awareness. Like, hey, I don't need this moment. Like I can dish it real quick. I can give it to somebody else so we can like move forward. I'm not saying Wilson thinks like that, but sometimes with some of the shots he takes, looks like he probably kind of wants to play a little bit of hero ball. But yeah,
Exactly.
I think Kansas has all it takes to go back to back. I think it's gonna be really, really impossible for them though. The biggest reason too, Baylor collapse, I think has a little bit going on with them. The Alabama situation, like what we just touched on a bit, I don't think the outside noise will affect them like a little bit or like not too bad, but I think at some point like
I think it'll get
it's got
to
to
him.
get like they've had too much going on. It's kind of like I hate like the Bill situation. Like eventually the Bills just had so much going on that like your gas runs out at some point mentally. Like it's just because it sucks for those boys. Like they're winning the game, and then right after interview, they're like, "Hey, what do you think about what they're saying about Brady Miller?" Like that's
Nah,
not going to be good for the mentals.
I think the fans chanting and the 24-hour media circus that is March Madness will definitely get to this team and affect them in some kind of way.
And I think Kansas might be the most mentally tough team in college basketball right now. I want to say, and they get that from a coach who just doesn't let anything affect him. I don't think he's had more than four losses in a row ever in his career, and for the first time in like forever, he got 3 losses this year. Just dumb. Like those are dumb.
Yeah. No, yeah, man, I love Bill Self. He's everything I want to be, honestly. If I was gonna be a college coach, he is definitely. I mean, I think this season too. To your point, I think this is his best coaching job ever. This is the first time he really hasn't had real NBA talent on his team. He has a lot of.
Yeah, I want to cut you off real quick because I want to say a quote that the announcer said that fits perfectly with this. He said that so this year's team, they were talking. Bill Self was talking to the announcers pregame, whatever about this year's team. He's like, we aren't as skilled as we were last year, and I think he said we aren't as skilled as we were last year, and it's like we weren't maybe like as smart or something as something along those lines of last year. He's like we have probably he said we have more dog in us than last year a little bit, and he was like we have more fight in us than last year, and it's like it shows because they don't have the most skilled guys as they did last year. Like you were just about to say, they don't have all the NBA guys they did last year, but they got a group of guys that are like, hey, we're gonna win this damn basketball game no matter what, and that's what you really need is guys who just buy in. Are like, hey, let's win this damn game, huh?
No, that's what I watched earlier in the season. I just was looking at it wrong, I guess, because they won a lot of close games, that overtime games, 1 point games, and I was like, man, Kansas at some point they're gonna start losing these games. But instead of losing the games, they just started winning by margin more, and
Getting better.
yeah, and started putting it together, and knowing that they can go down to the wire and have that resilience. Like we touched on with Providence earlier in the season, man. Teams that go through that gauntlet, and I think this is honestly like now that I'm in March and not in December. Uh, I'm glad Gonzaga went through the stretch of barely winning games and like actually having to realize, hey, we're gonna have to play. Like we gonna have to play. We're not just gonna show up and Drew Timmons gonna drop 40 and we're gonna walk out of here with a 30-point win anymore.
Sucks to happen on like their cupcake conference schedule, but I mean, yeah, I agree. I think going through that adversity, as much as it sucks, even if it is to the bad teams, kind of wakes you up a little bit. Like, hey, we gotta get our shit together.
Man, the more I talk about it, the more excited I get, and it's hard to even say I can even get more excited about March Madness as
We're
much
like
as
two
I
weeks
love
away,
it.
right?
Literally 2 weeks and 2 days from Selection Sunday. 2 weeks and 4 days until
Two.
I gotta pick some up from the airport, and yeah, as soon as March 1st hits, I'm about to turn this half of this wall into a bracket over here. Get ready to fill it out.
Rob R's been trying to look on the walls to find a spot for a second TV. I don't know if it's gonna be able to be done, but man, I'm looking at these monitors like, all right, I got like 4 games I can put on. That can maybe fit a fifth if I charge the old laptop. Like, yeah, I'm so excited, man.
You
Nothing
only
better.
need 4 at a time, baby.
Nothing better.
No, I'm geek, man. I can't wait. I moved one TV the other day. I'm about to move a few more in here.
But you,
I've been looking at Goodwills trying to find cheap like 32 inches for like $15-$20. Cause I don't want to move all the
yeah,
TV. Like I don't want to take the TV out the bedrooms and just have my girlfriend back there reading a book while we watching the games.
reading a book by the candlelight because you're taking all the electricity for the games. Okay, sorry, it's March. What do you got to do? You got to understand.
Nah, that's one thing I told her when I first met her, man. About 2 years ago. I really don't care about my birthday. I really don't care about Christmas. But when March Madness come around, that's all my attention, all my everything. I even told her last night, like, I was like, we're gonna go on this date March 4th, because after that, I don't know if I'm even gonna talk to you till March 20th.
It's like, hey, I hate to say, you might need to. I might need you to make me some food here and there, but I promise at the end of it, after all the neglect, it'll be worth it. I promise. No, yeah, hey, that it does sound like it's gonna be a fun time though. From what you told me, it goes on around your house around these times. Yeah,
Oh
nothing
man,
better than just basketball all day for like a weekend too, right? Nothing better.
man, I can't wait, man. If you have anything to add, you can add it. Any shout outs, anything. If not, I appreciate it, man. Jaden Chandler Parnell.
Shout out us for just getting it barely under 41 minutes. We hit the 40 mark exactly. So hey, if you took the under today, it's probably around like the 45-minute mark because of the last few shows. We got you a win, baby. But no, thank you again for having me on. Always fun, man. Yeah, and then I'm just so excited for March, man. Just every day goes by, we inch closer to the madness, and
I know.
can't wait.
Next Friday when I have you on, we'll really have some real things to talk about. I think,
Conference
especially
tourneys start next
championship.
week, right?
Yeah. Some of them, but the big conferences I think are the week after. But
By the way, bracketology's still not up. Just wanted to update that. Whole show wasn't up.
Yeah, I wasn't able to look at brackets and matchups like we planned to, but that would have probably put us at about 2.5 hours if we would have got that up.
Yeah,
So.
you save that for next week, right?
No, definitely next week, man. We can break down these conference tournaments and touch on the bracket a little bit more. But I think next week we just do a whole show on conference tournaments, if you want.
Sounds good to me. Hey, that's what we're next week. Conference tournament tournament breakdowns, baby.
Start actually giving out some bets.
Ooh, yeah, because I realized, we just been talking. Especially me. I've just been coming on the show just bumming. I know this is a betting show. Hey, don't worry, people. I got you. No, but for real though, thank you for having me on again. It's always a blast, and yeah, man, can't wait to watch the end of the show and then get ready for these games this weekend. Seems like a little bit more of a quiet weekend than usual, but we know why.
Yeah,
the madness is coming.
Yes, sir. It's the calm before the storm, and I appreciate you, my man. Always.
You next week, my boy.
Yes, sir. My man, Jaden Chandler Parnell. One of the things I truly look forward to every week is talking to him on Friday mornings, talking some spiggity sports. All right. It's always like weird going to back to the captain by a hook with the red beard. I don't think I've shouted this show out once all day. I didn't intro it. I didn't shout it out. 42 minutes in, baby. You're listening to Captain by a Hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, a.k.a. Rowan Dives. I got 3 bets for you tonight. 2 in the National Basketball Association. 1 best bet in college hoops. But before I get to that, let me touch on this Saturday slate. And if you don't know by now, where you been? No, I appreciate all the new fans and new listeners and watchers that have been joining the last week or two. This is honestly, numbers are progressing at a rate beautiful. I hit my first show last week that had 30 views. I know that's not much to most, but it's a lot to me. So Saturday slate, on Fridays, I give out my numbers for college basketball Saturday slate. Before the books give out their numbers, I know it's kind of weird, but I want to give y'all Saturday picks. This is the best way I can feel like I can do it. You write these numbers down, draw a line like I do every week, and write down the real numbers when you get them, and then put dots by the ones you want to bet, and you bet them. You bet the numbers, people. It's not complicated. +6, +9, I'm betting that. +3, +4, and 5, I'm betting that. I think I just pointed out 2 losers. Don't be looking at my... I'm saying. I had a great week last weekend. Had a great week this week, throughout the week. Last night, 5-0 on the show. You're welcome. Now, knock on wood, because the cockiness blocks blessings. I'm saying. Jumping into Saturday's slate, I'm going to start it off early. Give me Michigan State +2.5. Michigan State +2.5. I think they're live to win this one. Last night I said write the names of the teams down. Write the opposing players so you ain't got to grab your phone and look at it. I didn't do it, man. I've been telling myself this since November. Like, all right, this is live television. I think I explained it once. I'll explain it again. I'm a weird energy guy. I don't like writing the team names that I'm betting against. So I write Michigan State down. That's the only team I want energy to go to, is the winners. Which I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else. But it makes sense to me. So give me Michigan State on taking on Iowa on the road. Give me Michigan State plus 2.5. Like I said, I think they're liable to win it. I think they have the most underrated defense in the country. Offense is finding its groove. Give me Michigan State plus 2.5. Give me Arizona taking on in-state rival Arizona State down there in Tucson. Give me Arizona minus 7. I think it'll be a closer game just because of the in-state rivalry. Arizona State back against the wall. They need this win. Arizona State needs this win to make the tournament, and they need it bad. Give me Arizona minus 7. Hopefully I can get through this show. I got 12% on my laptop. I got the charger right here, but I'm going to try and just get through it. Listening to Captain By Hook with the red beard. Give me the Syracuse, the Orangemen. Another team desperately needs a win. As much as they pissed me off the other night with that effort, I'm hoping Jim Boeheim saw that effort, went in the locker room, and I know you can't legally do this, but I hope he slapped the hell out of some of his players. Give me the Orangemen plus 8 taking on Pittsburgh. Need a win there, baby. I'm rooting for this Orangeman to get in the tourney. Give me UConn on the road taking on St. John's. UConn finding their rhythm in February after a abysmal January. Give me UConn minus 5 and a hook. Keeping it in the Big East. Some Big East basketball going on Saturday morning, baby, at 11. Give me Creighton minus 3 and a hook over Villanova. Villanova after the Jay Wright era, trying to finish above 500. Give me Creighton to crush that minus 3.5 on the road. Give me Creighton. Moving over to the Big 12. There's a few games that look delicious. You got Oklahoma taking on Iowa State. I am going to stay away from it, although I do like Iowa State. Around minus 4, minus 5. TCU taking on Texas Tech. Love TCU. Me and Jaden Chandler just talked about TCU for about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to stay away from this one also, but I do like TCU with the same minus 4 or 5 on the road. Clemson taking on North Carolina State. Going to stay away from it, but I lean towards the home team, North Carolina State. Clemson struggles a bit away from their home on the road. Where we at here? Back to my list. Baylor, Big 12 basketball, baby. You got Alabama taking on Arkansas. Kind of staying away from that. Arkansas is finding their groove. They're getting some players back healthy. Alabama's going through some media harassment, if you will. I'm going to stay away from it. But Texas, going on the road, taking on Baylor. Going to be an exciting midday matchup. Give me Baylor minus 1.5 at home. Give me Baylor to win this at the end. Oklahoma State hosting Kansas State. Give me Oklahoma State plus 6 at home. Give me the home dog, baby. Oklahoma State. They've been one of them teams that doing their thing lately. Kansas. Give me Kansas minus 4 and a hook. Kansas at home, I believe, taking on West Virginia. Give me Kansas minus 4.5. I think the number will be a little bigger than that, actually. But that's the number I keep getting to is Kansas winning by around 5 points. So give me Kansas minus 4.5 taking on West Virginia and Bob Huggins. About halfway through this here. Give me Miami at home minus 9 taking on Florida State. I know it seems pretty big, but I got Miami winning this by 11 or more. Give me Miami minus 9 at home. Undefeated at home. Just jinxed them. Sorry about that. Miami minus 9 at home. Next game I got is Kentucky, baby. Kentucky. John Calipari taking on Bruce Pearl in Auburn. Both of these teams are 19-9. Both of these teams need a win. Give me Kentucky at home, baby. Minus 1 and a hook. Winning a close one by winning the rebound battle. Give me Kentucky minus 1 and a hook at home. Virginia minus 3. I think they're taking on North Carolina. As bad as North Carolina is, there's still that little kid in the back of my head that thinks they're about to do the same thing they did last year and go on a 12-game winning streak. So I am a little nervous about this one. My number came to about 6 or 7 for Virginia, but I'm not taking it over -3. Give me Virginia -3 on the road going into Chapel Hill. Something about this North Carolina team, they got too much talent to count out, even though I've already counted them out. North Carolina might be allowed to win this at plus money at home. I'm on Virginia -3. Tennessee at home taking on South Carolina. Think this is going to be a rout, a blowout. Give me Tennessee -7. Hopefully I can get a number like that, but it'd probably be -11 to 13, maybe even a little more. I like Tennessee -7. Vanderbilt at home taking on Florida. Give me Vanderbilt +4 at home taking on Florida. Vanderbilt at home +4 taking on Florida. Tongue twister, if I've ever seen one. 4 more games left here. Some powerhouses. Let me find it real quick. The first one I have is Purdue, Indiana rematch. One of the biggest rivalries in the Big Ten. Love this matchup. Give me Purdue -5.5. I know that seems pretty big. Indiana, since beating Purdue and having that hot 10-day, 4-game stretch, they have bounced back to the Indiana that I have come to know and love. Tracy Ellis Ross is as soft as he usually is. After dominating for a month, Indiana is back to being the trash team that I love. Love to fade Indiana. Give me Purdue -5.5 confidently. I think they get their lick back from Indiana beating them at home. Now they're at home. Marquette. Give me Marquette -6.5 taking on DePaul. Got a lovely future on Marquette +2,000 to win the Big East. All they need to do is close out. They got 3 easy games. DePaul, Butler, and St. John's, I believe. Just go ahead and win them all, bro. You got a 2-game lead right now in the Big East. Just win these last 3. If you win 2 of them, Cash Money Records taking over for the 9-9 and 2,000. Give me Marquette -6.5. Houston on the road. I have them -13 over ECU. Give me Houston -13 over ECU. And then another rematch. That is, I can't wait to watch. Give me Gonzaga at home to take back their share of the conference title. Give me Gonzaga -4 taking on St. Mary's at home. St. Mary's gave them a gift by losing the game about a week after they beat them to give Gonzaga a chance to tie the conference. Now, moving on to tonight. I'll retouch Saturdays real quick for you. 53 minutes, huh? Listening to Captain by a Hook with the Red Beard. Saturday slate. Give me Michigan State +2.5. Arizona -7. Orangeman +8. UConn -5.5. Creighton -3.5. Baylor -1.5. Oklahoma State +6. Kansas -4.5. Miami -9. Kentucky -1.5. Virginia -3. Tennessee -7. Vanderbilt +4. Purdue -5.5. Marquette -6.5. Houston -13. And Gonzaga -4. What I'm going to do is give you my NBA bets real quick for tonight, and then I will jump into the NC2A bet of the night. Franklin Earl Beard Winnington will make his appearance. Give me the New York Knickerbockers -1. I believe they're taking on the Wizards on the road. Give me the New York Knicks -1. Love that bet. Absolutely love that bet. The New York Knicks -1. Also like Brunson's over if I can get it anywhere under 24, 23 and a hook, 22 and a hook, somewhere around there. It wasn't posted earlier. It might be posted now. Don't have time to look, but I will be looking at Jalen Brunson's over as well as the New York Knicks -1. And then this one might be a little bit of a surprise. Give me OKC tonight, +7.5. I'm going to try and get it at +8, +8.5, but it was listed at +7 in the hook, taking on the Phoenix Suns, who are still awaiting Kevin Durant's debut. Albeit They have been on fire since Devin Booker has came back. Give me the Thunder to keep this game close. Give me Shea to act a donkey. Give me everything you can give me on this Thunder game. Thunder plus 7.5. Now, I need somebody, anybody, hit me with the horns. Franklin Earl Beard winner time with the best bet of the day. Not to brag, but Franklin Earl Beard Winnington, my man, has been killing the NC2A this season. Tonight, they're giving us a gift. Some low-hanging fruit. Doop. Ripe, perfect. Give me Xavier. -1.5. I forgot who they played. I want to say it's St. John's. This game should nowhere near be this number. Xavier playing Seton Hall, -1.5 on the road. Xavier should be -4, -5. Give me Xavier -1.5 on the road, taking on a tough Seton Hall team with their best player dealing with a little bit of an injury. He played like the first couple minutes of last game and couldn't go. We'll see how he's looking tonight. I'm talking about, I think his name is Quentin Richardson. That's wrong. That's an old NBA player. Richardson, though. The guy that should be starting at Syracuse right now if they would have got rid of number 11. We ain't going to get on that, bro. I can't stand that man, number 11 for Syracuse. I've been dealing with his ass for about 7 years now, bro. Anyway, tonight, best bet of the day, Xavier -1.5. Please take all wagers at your own risk, and please gamble responsibly. Dobbs. See you guys next week. Captain by a hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, a.k.a. Rowan Dobbs.